May only the truth be spoken and only the truth be heard. Amen. Imagine it, if you will. The Creator had such high hopes, hovering over the darkness, breathing in its promise, and gathering all the creative energies of life. The Creator spoke hope, and out of darkness flowered light. Not only light, but earth and sky, dry land and seas, fruit and flowers, leaves and grasses, animals that walked and birds that flew, creatures that crept and fish that swam. The skies, the seas, the earth, all of it teeming with the creative hope of God. And there was more. Out of the earth, the Creator shaped the earth creatures, the human beings, to serve and delight in the earth, to serve and delight in the Creator. All of creation and all creatures building home for each other and for God. The Creator had such high hopes for delight and conversation and praise, and the hope that all creatures would delight in God. Nothing could go wrong. Until the snake and the fruit. Until the fruit was bitten, digested, chewed and digested. Until evil was bitten, chewed, and digested. Until violence was unleashed on the world. The snake knew. The earth creature knew. Now was the time for death. But in the midst of that betrayal, in the midst of the loss of hope, in the midst of deep fear, in the face of death, the Creator does something that is beyond imagination, beyond hope. God gives not death, but life. Not death, but promise. A promise that one day, in the midst of death, there will be new life. Imagine it, if you will. The Creator had such high hopes. If only I could put these people in their own land, they would show all the other nations what my community on earth looks like, what it looks like when the hungry are fed and the poor are cared for, when the stranger is welcomed and creation is cared for, when enemies are forgiven. That would show the whole world what it looks like when I live among people in harmony with all of creation on the earth. The Creator had such high hopes. God would be with them and healing would come. Until the people put their trust in power and dominance. Until they worshipped military might, ground down the poor, took the land of the vulnerable, ignored the needs of the earth, enslaved and imprisoned the stranger, and picked up the spear in the face of the enemy. Until faced with the choice of death or the choice of life, the people chose death, and betrayal became the grief at the heart of God. And in the midst of that betrayal, in the midst of that loss of hope, in the midst of deep fear, in the face of death, the Creator does something that is beyond imagination, beyond hope. God promises water for the barren ground, a return for those who have been deported, freedom for those enslaved, a feast for the hungry, homes for the unhoused, healing for the sick, renewal for the land that has been reduced to rubble. And impossibly, a living, pumping heart of flesh to replace the cold heart of stone that had bound itself to betrayal. In the midst of death, the Creator promises renewal and new life. Imagine it, if you will. The disciples had such high hopes. The kingdom truly seemed to have come. Where Jesus walked, there was healing. Sins were forgiven, hungry were fed, and evil fled. Even creation rejoiced where Jesus walked. And then that heady walk to Jerusalem, the entrance on the donkey, the cheers of the crowd, the mounting hope of an empire overthrown, and an end to suffering. A hope that the people would no longer be pushed off their land, no longer suffer violence at the hands of brutal soldiers, the hope that no longer would their young men disappear, and hope for the wounded and the sick. Surely Jesus would bring healing. If Jesus was with them, nothing could go wrong. Until Jesus began to speak of betrayal. Until the creeping certainty entered the disciples' own hearts. Is it I? Is it I? Will I be the one who will let the ache in my spirit, the despair in my heart create what destroys? Will I bind myself to betray? And in the midst of that betrayal, in the midst of the loss of hope, in the midst of deep fear, in the face of death, will the Creator once more do something that is beyond imagination, beyond hope? Could life flower out of the darkness of betrayal? Some parts of this story we don't need to imagine. We've all been there. That place of new dreams, that place of hope. We've all tried to walk the path to freedom, to leave behind the things that enslaved us. We've tried to live in the abundance of creation, to be the people who live in community with the Creator. We've tried to be the place of forgiveness and healing. We've tried to be the people of hope. We've tried. God knows we've tried. And still we find our feet on that other path. That path of betrayal. That path of denial. That path of fear. That path of death. We've held the scabbard when the soldier pulled the sword. We've tried to look like we were giving the kiss of love in the midst of our collusion. We have betrayed and we have been betrayed, and there is no health in us. Until. Do we dare hope that there will be an until? Do we dare to believe that the Creator will once again do something beyond our imagination, beyond our hope? The stories of our faith tell us of a Creator God who brings life out of death, meets betrayal with forgiveness, a God who dares to promise something new in the shattered ruin of a world of violence and pain and death. As we walk the path of betrayal this week, as we encounter the forces of violence, of deceit, and of death, may we dare to hope that the Creator God will once again do something beyond our wildest imaginings for the sake of those who have betrayed and for those who have been betrayed. Amen.